This is the first Amy Schumer movie I've seen, and I've got to say, it doesn't do a huge amount to make me want to check out her other ones. She's normally better than this, right?
Put the bunny back in the box.
Starring, amongst others, Amy Schumer, Michelle Williams, Emily Ratajkowski, I'm terrible with names, really bad at pronouncing names, and Rory Scovel. Directed by Abby Cohn and Mark Silverstein off of a script that they wrote. This is my review for I Feel Pretty.
Shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah, shimmy, yeah.
I thought you might want a sneak peek of what's to come.
I Feel Pretty focuses on Amy Schumer's Renee, a woman who longs to be more beautiful than she is and feels that success is linked to looks. After a pretty brutal spin class accident, and for a comedy, it is quite a brutal accident. Like it may be sort of oof when it happened. She's knocked unconscious, and when she awakes, she sees herself as one of the most beautiful women in the world. She uses this delusion to try and improve her personal and professional life, and as a result of it, begins her dream job. It's at best a flimsy premise that relies on some pretty shaky coincidences to allow Renee not to realise that she looks exactly the same as she always has. She'll misunderstand people's comments, she'll interrupt people before they can say anything, and generally she comes across as quite obnoxious in refusing to hear the obvious. And that's one of the biggest problems I have with I Feel Pretty. Schumer isn't really the problem here. She fully commits to the role and to the materials that she's given, but she's let down by the writing and by the character. Renee is perhaps one of the most irritating characters that I've seen in a film so far this year. As soon as she sees herself as something else, she changes from being likeable, which she is in the early stages of this movie, and she becomes at best annoying and sometimes at worst downright horrible. And that is, of course, the point. You know, she's meant to see the error in her ways after how she treats people, but the issue is we spend so much time with this character. I think Amy Schumer is in every single scene in this movie. And it got to the point, and it didn't take long to get there, where I just couldn't stand her. She began to grate on me very, very quickly, and it didn't really let up for most of the runtime. And it's a shame, because there's moments where this character does work. Aside from the early stages that I mentioned, the scenes of her and her budding romance with new love interest Ethan, they're great, and it's only really here that Renee comes across as a nice and normal person. It's the only time after she sees herself differently, that I still found myself rooting for her a little bit. Rory Scovel is a highlight as Ethan. He's a fun character who's firmly in touch with his feminine side, and I enjoy the fact that he's comfortable with things like Zumba. He has no problems with saying that he's off to a Zumba class and everything. He seems that he's very, very comfortable within himself, which is quite fitting for this movie. There's also Michelle Williams, who plays a very different character to how I've seen her before, and it's quite fun to see her do this sort of role. She's quite insecure. She has this high-pitched, squeaky voice. And yeah, it's not the sort of performance that I'd expect from Williams. And it's fun watching her adapt this persona as it goes on. As a Dawson's Creek fan, though, and I love Dawson's Creek, I'm a little bit annoyed that we didn't get a single moment between her and Busy Phillips, who's also in this movie. They do share a scene at one point, but we don't get any interaction. It's not really a flaw of the movie. It's just something that bugged me a little bit. Overall, though, I Feel Pretty is a film that has a shell of a good idea, but it just doesn't know how to use it. I mean, its message is nice enough. It only matters that you believe in yourself rather than what other people think about how you look. Like, that's fine, but it's so heavy-handed in how it delivers that message that it almost loses all meaning. It builds towards this big finish that lacks any emotional weight because it's way too on the nose for its own good. It also feels that it runs a bit too long, which isn't great when this movie actually only clocks in at just under 2 hours. Many moments drag, and it isn't helped by the fact that it's a comedy that's sorely lacking in laughs. Like, I love a good chick flick, and I'm not averse to watching romantic comedies. 50 First Dates is always a go-to film to me. I've seen that film so many times, but with this, I think I chuckled out loud once and only really raised a smile a handful of times. My fiancée, who I thought this film would definitely be up her street, turned to me about 3/4 through and just went, "This film's really bad, isn't it?" And yeah, it is. It's not great. I'm going to give I Feel Pretty a 4 out of 10. It's a shame that this couldn't have been better. The premise is fine if it was in the hands of people who knew how to handle it. As it stands, though, it just comes across as a missed opportunity that at times is horribly dull. There's good moments here and there, but yeah, largely, at least in my opinion, it misses the mark. Have you seen I Feel Pretty? If so, tell me what you thought. Should I try another Amy Schumer movie? I've always wanted to check out Trainwreck. I'm not overly keen on doing it now, but is that a better film? If it is, let me know and I'll give that a watch. You can follow me on Twitter at Joe P. Julians. You can follow me on Stardust as well, when my username there is just Joe Julians. Movies at 20 will be back this Friday, and the next one for that will be Deep Impact. Hit subscribe to be notified when that goes live, and if you could click like on this video, that would be great. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.